You're watching Umami.
Hey, what's up, Ghost? What's going on, everyone? So I'm going to be drawing some stuff for the Safe Mode series. And I don't know if I'm going to be streaming very long today. I'm not really super energetic today, but I'll just wanted to say hello to everyone for a little bit, you know. I got to draw some background shots, so I might as well do it on the stream. Hey, Pink Tooth, no worries, man. So, what's you all been up to recently, you know? This is kind of hard to get the perspective of stuff, you know. I might just do something real quick in Cinema 4D, just to get the perspective of something. Is it cold there? It's not super cold, but it's like -14 Celsius in Canada, so it's not that bad. Okay, so it's kind of car model that I bought. That's not what I'm doing right now. I gotta get some. Let's see, I think it's like a maybe like torus shapes. Get rid of the, let's get rid of everything here besides torus. There we go, that's what I need to do. Okay, so, got one torus. Yeah, it just helps me with the perspective. of the building I have to build, rather than just freehanding it, which probably look okay, but I don't know. It's just easier to do something like this. Yeah, so I've been here in Canada. Hopefully, they're supposed to open up the gyms again. They've been closed for COVID reasons. So I really need to start going again because I haven't really been exercising properly. By the way, these vinyls I've been working on, if anyone's ordered them and is wondering, I got a call I got an email from the plant today, and they've been pushed back again until April 21st, the week of April 21st. However, they did say that the blue interface part 2 vinyls have completed. And so I think I should be getting those in about a week, and I'll be able to ship out some of the vinyls, but not all of them. So that's kind of annoying, but I was looking it up, and apparently like Adele ordered like 500,000 vinyls and like blocked up every pressing plant in existence. And like a lot of bands right now are having problems getting their vinyls pressed. They're all been like pushed back to like March and stuff. So these are like vinyls that were supposed to be finished in November. So I've been kind of dealing with that, and but I guess that's just how it goes, you know, these days. Everything's kind of just delayed. And I like that idea. I like that idea, Ryan. I got to design some new hoodies and stuff too for the new series, but I feel like there hasn't really been enough episodes yet to kind of justify it, you know? So I'll probably design something after episode 2 comes out. I still got to still have a lot of work to do, you know? So these aren't really, they're not donuts. I mean, it looks like donuts, but they're, it's actually like a building. These kind of strange buildings that are in the interface, I guess. Kind of like pods. And thank you everyone that's been sharing my music and downloading it, and some people even paid for it, even though I put it up for free, the new EP that's on my Bandcamp. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to, I don't know, like, you know, I've always made music before. I made animations, and I do enjoy making animations, but I feel like I have more passion for making music, just because I find that animation is just, it's a very, you have to have a lot of, I don't know what the word is, patience, I guess. I mean, you have to have a lot of patience for making music too, but animation is like, it can be kind of tedious at times, you know, just drawing the same character in the right perspective over and over again. You know, and I'm not really even, like, the way I animate is kind of like hyper efficient, you know, like there's some animators out there that do a lot more like articulations of the limbs and stuff, rather than most of my characters kind of just stand there, you know. You might see a little bit of emotion in their face as I'll animate some of the subtleties in their face expression. You know, honestly I find that that's something that's not, I mean, cartoons, they do a lot of over exaggeration, cartoony over exaggeration, but there's not a lot of animation out there where they try to do kind of like just subtle movements of the face, you know. I guess because it doesn't really read very easily, you know, if you're looking at a cartoon. Okay, so there's my kind of like quad buildings, the ones in the foreground at least, so just leave those there for now. I feel like this needs to come down a bit. Hello from Russia. Hey, Bowen Gunther, thank you for that. And thanks everyone for the comments. And Map, I don't really know how to say your name. Map with a K. I don't know how to pronounce that, if it's like Russian, whatever, but. Hey, and Christian, thank you for the comments on the new album. Yeah, so like, I don't know, like the new album's like, I don't know, it's just, I make a lot of synthetic music, or like, kind of like industrial kind of sounding music. And I really wanted to just try to go more traditional and use my melodies and try to compose something I haven't really done before, which was guitar. Because I don't know how to play the guitar, so it's kind of hard to like compose music for something that you don't really know the rules of, if you know what I mean. Like, there's certain note combinations you can't do at once, you know. It doesn't really come easily for me. I don't know, I mean, with the violin and string instruments, it's a little bit easier, but like a guitar, you kind of have like, you only have a limited amount of like, you can play multiple, sometimes you can play more than one note at the same time, and then, I mean, you can do that too with a violin, I guess. But I've just been kind of easing myself into it, you know, trying to compose for different instruments other than like the synth or piano, you know. And so far it's going pretty well. Usually what I do is I'll generate sheet music and I'll send it to the musicians, and while it may not be the perfect sheet music for them, a lot of them are so good at playing their instruments that it doesn't, like, they can read it no matter, and they can interpret it, and they'll add a little bit of their own flair to it. So, you know, I'm happy with that too, because sometimes you'll hear something you didn't necessarily, it wasn't, just a little bit different than what you expect, and it's nice that way. I'm becoming, you know, when you work with music and musicians, you kind of have to. That's what you're doing, you know. You're working with different people, so they bring something a little different to the table. So anyway, there's a studio I've been using recently, Solitaire Studio in Ireland, and I found them because I was looking for violinists. I was looking for them in Canada, honestly, and you know, I was looking on Air Gigs and you know, those kind of websites where you can hire musicians. And I did find a few, but like, you know, I really wanted someone who can also record it like perfectly as well. And there's a lot of musicians out there that they play the music violin great, but if they don't have like a studio, you know, and they're not recording it in a controlled environment, it's gonna sound kind of like whatever, you know, not gonna sound great. So that's why I use this Solitaire Studio in Ireland, because it's run by a sound engineer, and his wife, who's also a musician, plays viola and violin, and he's got this sound treated environment that he works in. He's got it's like a hybrid. I think he uses digital and analog processors and compressors and stuff like that. And this guy is, like, you can tell he's the real deal, because he's been doing this for 30 years. And I mean, I was listening to some of his samples and stuff. I was like, I just know, like, this is gonna be good. He records the violin, the viola, and all that, and probably the cleanest sounding recordings I've ever received. So I'm still gonna use him. He's mastered the new EP too. So and also he organized hiring the guitarist, which is also a musician from Ireland. I was looking for a guitarist in different, you know, from Canada. The same sort of situation came up, and I was just like, you know, well, I'll hire this guy that I work with, and he's been doing a great job. And there's a musician, Conal Early is his name, and he recorded the guitar for the second track, I think on a steel string guitar, and he recorded it, and he also did a high string take, which is, I'm not really sure because I'm not like a guitarist, but I think it's when they tighten the strings so that they can play like an octave higher or something, or like it sounds brighter or something. Anyway, so all these different takes get merged together, and then you get this really nice guitar sound to it. And the engineer, Alan Whelan, he's got these like processors, Neve, I think they're called, or Neve, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but they kind of make the guitar kind of just pop a little bit, and I was really happy with how it sounded. So yeah, so I don't know, like what kind of instruments I'll be trying to record next, you know, probably a cello sometime. Like for now, you know, I use sound libraries, like sound libraries for, well, there's like Spitfire, and then there's a Tina Goa cello that I have, which is amazing, honestly, pretty good. It sounds very realistic. But I find that, you know, with programming like music instruments like the viola and the violin, like you have to sit there and spend a long time to do everything, all the velocities and the ins and outs and the blending. You have to sit there and do a lot of it. So I just found it's easier to just hire the actual musician to just play it for real, and I don't have to worry about it sounding natural, because I know it will be natural, you know. So that's what I've been doing. I put some of the Patreon money into that sort of thing, you know, and it's been working out great. So oh, did my camera just crap out, or I don't know what's going on. computer's kind of going slow there. Grishlock, hello. Dobam, thank you for the comments there. Now that interface is done, do you have any plans for future ideas or big projects like interface? Stagger. Well, the next thing I'm working on right now is this new series called Safe Mode, but I don't know if it's going to be as big as interface. You know, I'm not really going to have any. I'm not going to have any like illusions as to what it's going to be like. It's for now, it's just a fun little web series that doesn't really have a bigger goal in mind. I'm just doing it because I kind of like making stuff that's sequential, not just memey, like memes. But I don't want to like commit myself to just doing this big massive thing again. So I don't know how long Safe Mode's gonna go. It might just be 6 episodes. It might be 8. I don't know. Or maybe it could go longer. You know, I just don't want to say what for sure. You know. Because I feel like interface was like this big sort of project for me, and it's, you know, I really don't want to jump into doing something like that again right away. It was kind of stressful to do something like that. Of course, I run into the issue where it's like, now that interface is done, what do I do, right? So, you know, can't just sit at home do nothing all day. Obviously, I still got to make stuff. So for now, I'm making Safe Mode, and we'll see where it goes. I'm going to treat it the same way as interface, though. Whereas, you know, the story I'm going to try to make as interesting as possible. But it's going to be a little bit more character-based rather than interface was kind of like more of an idea than like a character-based film. I feel like it was more like a concept, you know. And there was a lot of monologues sort of feels. I was saying that I want Safe Mode to be more character-based, where you just have different conversations with these different characters and the situations that they're in, rather than the idea of interface, you know, as a bigger thing. Christian, yeah, I mean the sound libraries are great, but like, you know, and you know, if you don't have a lot of money, obviously that's the way to go, because you pay for the sound library once and then you have it for life, and you can make it sound pretty realistic for the most part, you know. Especially for things like orchestral cores, like where there's more, like when there's like a 12 violas playing at once or 12 cellos or whatever. Those tend to sound like a little bit more real because they're recorded, like because they're blended together. But like solo instruments, that's kind of tough to make sound realistic, because solo instruments, there's a lot of little nuance and details and kind of like grainy sounds to it that you can't, you know, the strings and the player brushing up against it, you know. Those are things that are hard to replicate with libraries, even though some libraries are getting very close now. The Insult Investor. Technically, Safe Mode is a sequel to Interface. So that's kind of my what's going to happen here with the Safe Mode. Okay, so I got my kind of 2 buildings there. I need to draw some more in the background. So. Umami, what's your favorite book, movie, TV show? Sorry, if this is something you've spoken about before. I think one of my favorite movies is Fargo. Have you guys ever seen that one? It's a Coen Brothers movie. Everything about that movie is pretty much perfect in my opinion. Every line of dialogue is written purposefully, and the acting is great, and it's funny and tragic and a lot of different things. So if you haven't seen Fargo yet, like not the TV series, which is also okay, but the movie, the original movie that came out in like the 90s or whatever, the movie is fantastic. And then they made a TV series based on it, which was pretty good, but it feels a little bit less. It has a little bit less direction, I guess. TV series. My favorite TV series would be Better Call Saul, which is a spin-off to Breaking Bad. I feel like it's just phenomenal writing, and it's better writing than Breaking Bad even. And it's weird because I don't think it's quite as popular. I mean, it is popular, but it's not like Breaking Bad was like a huge, you know. And it's essentially kind of like a continuation. It's not a continuation, but it's like a different perspective from the same story almost, because everything about it is written in a way that makes sense with the original Breaking Bad series. So they're not like breaking the universe. Sorry, I got to fix the roof of this pod. It's kind of messed up. And book? Favorite book? I mean, I haven't been reading books a lot recently. I used to read books a lot in high school and stuff, and I don't know what happened. I guess it's the advent of the internet kind of just changed things, and my attention span kind of went out the window. I haven't really been able to read a lot of books. Sometimes I've actually started reading a lot of books, and then I can't finish them. Like there's something about the book that I'm just like, it doesn't draw me in like they don't draw me in like they used to. But there was one book I read in high school, which was pretty interesting, called Shantaram, which is by Gregory Roberts. It's about an Australian prison convict that I think fled, to India, Bombay or Mumbai, and he was kept in a Indian prison for a period of time, I believe, and an Australian prison, and he wrote the book while in prison. I think what happened was, like on 2 different occasions, his book was stolen, like by the prison guards, and he had to rewrite it like 3 or 4 times. I forget how many times it was. And then eventually he got released from prison, and he was able to finish his book, and he released it, and it's called Shantaram. And it's kind of like a pseudo biography. It's not real, really. I mean, he calls it a biography, but it's not. There's a lot of stuff that he embellished, and it's for the sake of entertainment as a novel. But it's still a very fascinating book. So, and it's quite long. So I would recommend that one if you guys are looking for something cool to read. Man, these buildings in the back don't look very good. They're just like the wrong perspective. You know what I should just do? Hold on. Let me just erase them for a second. Just duplicate them. I don't know why. What I'll do is I'll just have more in the background here, but I'll draw on top of it. Like I'll just use it as a guide. because I'm having problems with perspective. I always have problems with perspective. Oh my god. What's going on? Duplicate this. Okay. Now just bring that down to like that so I can draw on top. Is your pen two-sided? I have been watching you flip your pen. Yeah, so the just an eraser. I mean, it's like a digital pen. If I flip it upside down, it erases. It's easier to do that than pressing a button. There's buttons on here I could program to do that, but I'd rather just flip it upside down and just, I don't know, it feels a little bit more natural. Are you a fan of barbecued meat fibers? Of course I am. I don't have a barbecue though, but you know, I could get a barbecue. I got a back balcony. Oh yeah, by the way, Meatbag, they might be the same buildings that you're thinking about, because I was looking at some abandoned buildings for inspiration. I had like this folder on my computer, and I don't know if it's the San Z UFO houses, but it might be, because they look exactly like this, basically. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw those because those look cool. So actually they do exist in real life, you know. I try to do that with everything in my animations. Is, you know, sometimes I draw things just out of the blue, but a lot of the stuff I try to have based in some sort of reality, because I feel like it makes it look, it's just like my animations are already kind of hard to understand and weird, so at least if you have a few things that are kind of like they come from an actual an existence of, like, you know, like they were built at some time, it's, I don't know, maybe it just makes it feel a little bit more believable or relatable, I guess. I don't really know if it makes any difference, but any kind of behind-the-scenes secrets you can share with us with some of the inspiration and symbolism behind interface? Also, is there anything you can share about interface's ending and its meaning? I mean, I don't really say anything about that sort of stuff, man. I mean, it's up for you to interpret, you know. It's, if you know, was it David Lynch says, you can look up what David Lynch thinks about explaining his own work, and, you know, I feel like to some degree, it's like a kind of a cop-out. It's like, well, it's up to your interpretation. It doesn't really matter if it makes sense or not, you know? But I know that it does have a meaning, and there's a message that I intended to make with it. But for me to explain it kind of takes away from the series itself, you know? And so if you go away watching it with, and you get a different interpretation from what I intended, that's that's fine, and that's normal. And but I don't want to, you know, be like, oh, well, this means this, and this means that, and this is that. I mean, it just as an artist, I mean, that's, you know, if I were to do that, then I would just be a political commentator rather than an artist, you know, because I feel like I express myself through my drawings and music rather than words, you know. Lean Donut, what was your proudest accomplishment? Oof, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's probably Interface, you know, now that it's finished. It's like pretty much a feature-length film. I just hope that, you know, well, it's always going to be on the internet. I don't know if I want to be doing like web animations for the rest of my life. So, you know, hopefully I'll have something else in the future that I can say would be my proudest accomplishment, you know, but for now that's what it is. Not that, like, you know, diminishing web animation, but like there's a lot of like stuff I think I could do more if I had like a team or some sort of budget, or, you know, and it's just limiting to be working in a kind of isolated bubble like this to some degree. It's also more fun, you know. Back in the day, I went to film school, and before I made this web series YouTube channel, and before I did YouTube really at all, I was a video editor, but I would also do random jobs on film sets from time to time. A lot of it was indie stuff. Except for one movie that I managed to get on because they were hiring for the visual effects on-set department, and that department is non-unionized. The VFX department is like the only part of a film set that's not unionized, and which is kind of stupid because 90% of movies are done with VFX now, so you basically have a good portion of the industry doesn't have a union representing them. But either way, what that allowed me to do was to work on this film because I was non-union. And that movie was it was not okay. Honestly, the movie was not good, but it had some big name director, Marimu Oshii, who directed Ghost in the Shell, like the original movie, like the cartoon. He came from Japan, and that was kind of crazy. Like, it was called Garm Droid Wars or something like that. It was like a weird sci-fi movie. It had some big name actors on there too. I just can't really remember the names right now, but that was kind of fun because, you know, you go around and you talk to different people, you talk to the sound crew, you coordinate stuff with the camera department, and you put tracking markers on stuff, and you take photographs of the set, and there's a lot of different things you can do rather than just sit in a room and draw, you know what I mean? So I kind of miss doing stuff like that a little bit. Maybe I'll do it again sometime, but at the same time, I'm not a morning person, and I would feel like death almost every day on set because you wake up at like 6 a.m. and you go down there and you work for like 13-hour days, and the pay was pretty good though, I guess. So anyway, Let me just move these buildings down a bit, I think. Yeah, a little bit better. Delete this. I feel like move them down just a bit more. Yeah, that's better. That looks a little bit more correct. Thanks, Mickey. Saint Kowalski. You know, I honestly don't even know if like working with an animation studio is something I really want to do. Because I come from kind of like a regular film background, and I do animation because it's like it's easy, you know, like I can draw a scene rather than having to go out and film it, and I can, you know, it's easy in some ways and it's hard in other ways, you know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to get like buildings that look like this in real life unless you actually go to the location and film it, you know? But with animation, you can just draw it, right? I don't know what exactly I aspire to do, you know, in the future. I don't really think about stuff like that. I'm not really good at planning, you know. I really kind of suck at that sort of stuff, like writing a script in advance, or just not how my brain works. So I mean, I gotta like force myself to do it sometime, you know, if I ever want to make something bigger. So these, okay, wait, there's like a base here to this building. We draw that in too. Kind of like a pod base disc thing. Probably going to be covered up with grass, but just draw it anyway. Yeah, hey, Monster CC. I'm really sorry to say, but if you ordered the blue Henrik vinyl, those are completed, and I should be getting those very soon. But if you ordered the Cerebral Electricity version, they've been pushed back until April 21st, the week of April 21st, and kind of like, I don't know what to do. You know, I promised to have these vinyls done in January, but the plant, they overbooked themselves, and they said, yeah, I'll be fine for December, and then it's like, they're, you know, I just wish they would have told me, the plant would have just said, you know, hey, it's gonna take 7 months if you want to order, and then that way I wouldn't set up unreasonable expectations when I made pre-orders for people. But apparently vinyl sales have exploded in the last year, and the demand for vinyl has kind of made all these pressing plants go haywire, and that combined with COVID and all that, the delays have been unprecedented. So I don't know what to say, you know. There's been a few people that asked for refunds, so if you want it, like if anyone wants refunds, I'll just process it, no issue. But otherwise, the vinyls will be a couple more months, unfortunately. Just the way it is, you know. These past couple of years have been just a shitstorm for getting anything made, you know. And same goes for the puzzles too. I think those are even taking longer than they should have. But I don't have any solid information on those yet. Okay, so that's the grass in the background here. Oh, and maybe I'll draw another pod just in the off screen back here. What? Thanks, Monster CC. I mean, yeah, everyone's been pretty understanding about it. It's just it's a tough situation overall with those vinyls. Hey, Thomas Speaker. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, like, and if even turntables have gone up in price due to the man, that's yeah, man. And there's like a chip shortage. I don't know if turntables have chips in them, but I think some of them do because of the internal what do you call it? So a lot of them have built-in preamps now. When I first started making vinyls, it was not that hard. It was like, you know, it still took longer than I expected, but it was like, the demand for them wasn't from like big, like Columbia Records or something. You know what I mean? It was mostly indie artists that were trying to sell physical merch on this kind of retro vinyl because it's fun, you know, and people who are really into music or were collecting vinyls. But now the big studios are like, we went on this, so they, I don't know, and the pressing plants were not ready for it, I can tell you that. Okay, so there's my outline. So I'm going to draw some grass in the foreground too. But I think I want to have it like animate so it kind of moves a bit, you know? So I'll leave it for now and I'll add it in After Effects. Now I have to reference a different shot, so I just need to see. Okay, so it's pink and green on top. Okay. Okay. Just gotta color the buildings in now. Miki, the harmonica was an interesting break. I'd love to hear more bluegrass influence in some of your work. I played the harmonica myself for that, and I don't really know what I'm doing when I play the harmonica. I just kind of played something that I thought might sound okay, and then I was like, okay, that's the one time Henrik says or does anything that you can hear, really, is him playing the harmonica. And I almost didn't put it in the soundtrack, but then I thought, you know, it just, well, the musical piece that after the harmonica is kind of the same musical motif. It's the same melody, more or less. It's just a bit more embellished, and I did it with the strings and stuff. So I thought it would be cool to have Henrik play the harmonica, and then the next musical piece is like kind of a more substantial version of it, so like an echo, you know. Mr. Toberston, son, thank you for that. I'm Saint Kowalski. I'm a beginner developer and was very inspired by your art. Got desire to create a game in the future. Oh, yeah, man, Saint Kowalski, yeah, I would, I mean, definitely consider it, you know, if someone wanted to help me, if someone wanted me to be like the designer of the sound for certain stuff, that might be cool. I don't really know how it works for video games. I know like a lot of video games nowadays, what they'll do is, if you know what like a stem is for music, it's like a different layer. It's like a different layer of sound. I know they do this for Portal, but basically the composer would make like multiple different stems, and rather than bake the mixing into the soundtrack, the game will kind of like mix the stems while you're playing the game, depending on where you are in the level, so that the game kind of, the soundtrack doesn't just sound like music that plays and ends. It kind of continues until you get to the next part. I think they did that in Max Payne 3 as well, with the band Health. They made a soundtrack for that game. And I think that's how they did it, because I remember playing that game and the music would kind of like repeat until you get to a certain area, which is, it makes it like a little bit more immersive, I feel like, rather than it just being music, you know. It doesn't really work for a video game to have music that just ends, but Legendary Z, they clearly knew what nodes they were portraying in their story. Oh, okay, you guys are talking about like a Netflix movie or something. I think I just been reading the chat there. I've been watching this show called Ozark on Netflix. Have any of you seen that? It's a pretty good show. I wouldn't say it's great. It's entertaining, but it kind of gets repetitive, and I don't know if anyone. I'm not gonna like. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but like, the problem I have with it is they'll have like an antagonist, and that antagonist will eventually die, and then the next episode they just introduce some new character that's like the new antagonist. And it happens like 5 times throughout the series. And sometimes they'll like have some sort of story direction that they're going in, and then they just add another story direction, and then things are constantly going wrong all the time, and this doesn't seem to happen naturally. That's my kind of criticism of that. It's not really good criticism, yeah. Ozark kind of feels like they're trying to be like, sort of like Breaking Bad to a certain degree, I guess. Like, they feel like they're inspired by it. But it's not... The bad guys just feel very corny, which is weird to say, because in Breaking Bad, you have like characters like the twins and stuff, and supposedly those are supposed to be corny, because, you know, you got like killer twins coming after you with these like golden shoes and stuff, but in Ozark I find them to be even less. I feel like it's because they're trying to make them look realistic, yet they're completely not. But with Breaking Bad, it was like they intentionally made them unrealistic, and somehow that made them more believable. I don't really know why that is. Have you ever tried using EB Synth? I know what it is, but I haven't actually tried it for my own purposes. I know Joel Haver does it for his animations, and you know, where it kind of glitches out and stuff. That's basically why I didn't use it, because for my purposes, that's not what I wanted my stuff to look like. But it works in his animations and his style perfectly well. Let's see. Okay, I need purple. But it's also, I don't think it can handle pixelated images very well. So the only way I could really do it would be to, because I think it would blur. It would do like some frame interpolation in between the colors and stuff. And so I use a very specific color palette. And so if I were to use EB Synth, it would kind of just make things smeary, and it wouldn't work for my purposes. Yeah, I've been growing my beard out because I've been like lazy. But it doesn't look so bad. I mean, it looks okay. I can get some compliments on it actually, so I don't know. I might just keep it for a bit. I probably need to get a haircut though. You know, just things have been locked down here in Montreal, and I just like whatever. You know, I don't have to go outside. I'm just gonna go full caveman. You know. Oh, KTO, let me see. You're writing in Russian, which I don't speak Russian. I mean, that could be it. Hold on, mate. Let's see. Did you write something else? I can't get to all the comments because there's a lot of them, and sometimes they get up on the top of the chat there. But if anyone really wants me to answer something I haven't said, just try to repeat it, you know. Breaking Bad kind of ruined their other live action dramas for me. Well, they got to be at that level, or like The Wire. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It definitely. I mean, it's like this, man. You know, if you know something is good, and then it just suddenly makes everything else kind of feel like, I don't know. Ozark is like entertainment, is what it is, right? You watch it because to entertain yourself. But I feel like Breaking Bad and like, especially Better Call Saul, like it's kind of on a whole different level where it's not just entertainment. It's like it's almost as like it's like cultural. It's a piece of culture that is substantial, and 50 years from now, people will look back and be like, "That's a definitive moment in television." You know. It was this specific show, you know, really stood the test of time. So I have a lot of respect for the creators and the writers on that program. So what drove you to adopt a simpler style for safe mode? Did you feel like there was reason behind it? So here's the weird thing. It's not really a more simplistic style. If anything, it's actually more complicated because there's a lot of textures and stuff involved. But it's more, I guess, expressive and loose. So if something's not perfectly drawn, I'm not so worried about it. Like, you know, the Greetings robotics guy, his face gets all cartoony in like the very last shot. And I think it's my justification is that because everything's taking place in the interface, there's like weird glitches and things that aren't supposed to look the way they are, right? But I was kind of just, you know, getting kind of tired of using the same colors and the same style, and interface started to feel a little bit too stiff. So that's all. So with safe mode, the colors are more, I guess, I don't know, it might even be like bringing it back to how interface started, because interface, when it started, I feel like it was a lot more expressive. And then I slowly kind of stiffened up over time, you know. It's unintentionally, I guess, sometimes how things happen with artists. What are your thoughts on Adult Swim? They recently picked up a show from 2 other animators on YouTube. So you're talking about Smiling Friends by Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack. And I think it's great. They did a fantastic job. I mean, this show's very funny. I was watching some clips. I didn't actually watch an episode, but I've been watching a lot of clips on YouTube. And they're hilarious. So I don't know. I like it. I find that with 90% of animation that comes out these days, I watch it and like the trailer or whatever, I'm like, how the fuck did they get funding for this? But I don't feel like that at all with Smiling Friends. I think they got something good going there. So, you know, congratulations to those guys, and hopefully it continues on for many seasons, you know? It's very hard for studios to take risks on creators like that, and so it's cool to see Adult Swim, more specifically Turner, I guess, kind of go down that route. Henry, yeah, I have thought about making a point-and-click game, but I'm not really a game developer, and it's just too much work to do that, because rather than have a linear story like you would with an animation, you'd have to have a linear story that branches out and has all these little details everywhere. And so the closest thing I've ever done, if you're looking for a click and point video game, is to watch Chimney Alfonso, which is on my channel, which is like a choose your own adventure. But it's not something I'm not gonna really do. I don't think, is make a video game. I'm not a programmer, and it's just not my area of expertise. But if someone, you know, if some video game company was like, hey, we're looking for some interesting sound design, whatever, or, you know, I'd probably be up for that. Who knows? Arcady Murr? I'm just like butchering all you guys' names, you know, because I don't know how to pronounce things if you're in a different country. Hello from Moscow. If I may, how do you work with artistic burnout? Does work bring stress to you? That's a hard question to say, because I definitely felt a lot of burnout towards the end of Interface, and sometimes I still feel burnout, you know, even today doing the random stuff that I do. But you know, it's like this. I find that if I just put some music on and I just open up Photoshop, I close the internet, and just kind of just draw stuff for my series, whatever, that kind of burnout goes away, and I end up making something. If you're gonna have to kind of work a little bit every day if you want to be a serious artist. It's just the reality of how things are now. You're competing with so much saturation of different animations and stuff on the internet. You you have to keep some sort of work ethic, you know, and it's not just animation, it's pretty much anything. Like if you want to be a lawyer, it's the same situation. You're studying all these crazy things you have to do and know, and if you're a doctor, it's the same thing. Or if you're an artist, it's also the same thing, you know. It's people think, oh, it's an artist, you could just sit there and draw pictures every day, but it's coming up with what to draw is sometimes that's the hardest part, you know. I could just sit here and draw all day, but it'd be a bunch of bullshit, you know. I could load my channel up with an animation a week, but it would be really crap. And maybe the thing about that is that annoys me is that it would probably be good for the algorithm if I did that. But I know I would definitely lose some of my fans that are looking for quality stuff rather than dog shit. So that's just how things go with YouTube, you know. Thomas Spika. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it was with interface. Things kind of stiffened a bit because I wanted the story to make sense, and I didn't want it to just be this nonsense kind of you know, and I feel like there's a lot of that on YouTube, a lot of web series that don't really have a bigger message beyond just being fun or wacky, you know. And I'm being a little bit hypocritical here by making safe mode, which I am less concerned about the story being this sort of meaningful thing. It's just going to be kind of fun and wacky, you know. I just feel like I've done it now, interface, and so now I'm moving on to just doing something that I feel like I can do with feeling a little bit less burnout, you know, because it's less serious. Okay, I need to make this purple or something. It's not the right color. I don't like it being gray. Oh. Yeah, I don't really know what color to make it. Maybe I'll add some lines on top. Okay. Kenny Adams, what kind of music do I like? Check the description. There should be some music influences down there. The music that's playing right now is my music that I made for the web series. So if you want to hear it, you can go to hexsystem.com or just type Hex System into Spotify or whatever, and you'll find my music on there. Why did you choose different names for music and animation channel? Well, I made music before I made animations, and I was known as Hex System for that. So I didn't feel like changing my name when I started my new channel. There's a few different reasons also. There's also another band out there called Umami. So I didn't want to, you know... And they're also, they're kind of in the same sphere. They make, kind of more like hip... not hip, they kind of make more like electronic music, but it's more like club music, I guess. I'm not really... so I couldn't... I mean, I guess I could have just made my name Umami as a musician, but I don't know. That's when I just like to keep the music and the animation separate, you know. So if in the future I decide just to make music, that's what I'll do. I'll be under Hex System. My animations, though, specifically are just Umami. I feel like the colors and the sounds related to these animations, that's what the Umami is. And if people are interested in my music, they will find it under a different name. It's a different kind of feel, you know, a lot less wacky and crazy and meme related, and more just it's kind of just like just kind of chill music. That's all it is, you know. Yeah. I've been thinking about the final Evangelion movie a lot lately. Did you check that out, Umami? Did it come out? Because I haven't seen it. I mean, I saw the last Evangelion movie. I don't know if that's the new last one. And I was confused as hell because I haven't seen any other movies. I gotta say the animation was fantastic though, but I didn't feel compelled to watch the rest of the series. It just, I don't know. I'm not really a big anime fan. Beyond like the kind of more normie stuff, like watching Studio Ghibli and that sort of thing. How did you come with the idea of a live soup? Well, those animations are popular, but I feel like they're not exactly like brilliant ideas to make like a food talk, and so that's why I kind of made fun of that in my P animation, where it zoomed in on his face and the guy was like, "What do you think it's going to say something?" Because like you can't just add faces to objects forever and that be the joke, you know. Even though that's what I do, that's you know, that's what works on YouTube. I had this phrase: if you're looking for success on YouTube, just put a face where a face shouldn't be, and you will reach success. Because people like to see inanimate objects with personalities for some reason. It's myself included, and you know, it's how many more times can I do that on my own channel before I start looking like a hack, you know? I'll probably keep doing it, but it won't be very frequent. The Soup Son's an established character at this point, though. How's the snow situation in the corner of the world? It snowed today. There was a big storm. I had to shovel the front pathway and stuff. It wasn't a big deal though. Should go snowboarding again now though. We got some fresh snow out. It's not just like packed down ice. You know, the one thing I didn't like about the Evangelion ending was when they started like filming the audience. Because I guess that show has like a lot of fans, but then they're like breaking the fourth wall, and then they like broke the fifth wall, and then they started filming the audience like it was like, oh, and look, the audience is here too, and I was just like, oh fuck, just come on, like, just the animation is dope, so just stick with that. You know what I mean? And you can break the walls, but like, once you start filming the audience, and the weird thing about it was the audience was just like a bunch of dudes in a dark room like this. So it wasn't like, you know, it was just, it took me out of it, you know. Okay, let's look at this building now. I gotta add some grass down here. Oh. Alright, so there's that. Oh yeah, okay. I have to... Let's just say the sky is gray for now, so I can see what I'm doing. Oh my god, just work. Okay. I need to add... Ooh, the brush is too big. Max, big fan. Do you think making an imagery and soundtrack for your projects is a new medium because the music can inspire images and vice versa, so you make more impact? Oh, I see what you're saying. Is it a new medium? It seems to be a new kind of thing. Like, not really music videos per se, but like music visualizers. I'm not obviously the first person to do that, but there's like other musicians out there that have been doing it. There's this one guy, and I forget what his name is. Musician, and anyways, it seems to be like the new thing where if you make a full album, rather than make a music video for one track, you make a music video for the entire album. And the music video isn't necessarily as cohesive and condensed as a regular music video, but it's kind of like a visualizer. I don't really know like if it's like a new medium. I mean, that stuff, I think it's been around. It's just Spotify is kind of pushing these canvases now, where it's like if you play the music, there's like a little 30-second loop or whatever, or a 7-second loop of an animation or a video. So I think there's like some sort of, it seems to me like visuals and music are becoming more intertwined than what they used to be. But I don't really know much about how it's gonna affect the future of music. You know, maybe it's just a gimmicky thing or something. I don't know. I feel like, okay, so as cell phones become thinner, and as it's becoming easier to watch videos everywhere you go online, I think you're gonna see more visualizers with just everyday things, because it's easier to just produce video. You know, it's like back in the day when they had radio. I'm sure they would have had video too, but the technology limitations prevented them from doing that. Now you can have video on almost everything, and it might even be like in 50 years from now, you can buy a poster that's got video baked into it, and it will just be constantly moving, you know? Probably like ultra thin, like television screens that are cheap to make, you know? Hey, hello from Ukraine. I study English from time to time and to watch your videos without subtitles. That's great, man. Hope you can learn some English that way. Doombot 9000. Will there be lots of computer glitch effects? There will be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there'll be a lot of it, but there'll be some. You know, there'll be once in a while you see more stuff that's gonna be like, huh? Like that, and just because it's inside of a computer that's like kind of corrupted or whatever. So. Oh yeah, Pilot Red Sun, he does that too with the music now. He makes whenever he releases a track or an EP, whatever, he'll put out an EP like a visualizer. Pilot Red Sky is what he goes by for music. So if you're wondering where those are, you can find those on YouTube. I think it's smart because if you're gonna go through all this trouble to make music, you want people to stick around and watch it as long as possible. And if you have a visualizer, you're kind of enticing people to watch it longer than if you just played the music and they click out, you know, because they're not digging the music so much right away. Sometimes you just gotta hook people in for like 30 seconds longer than they want to be there, and then they'll be like, hey, you know what, I actually kind of like this music, you know. Music is one of the hardest things to get people to listen to if they haven't heard the band before. If I'm listening to a music track by some musician I haven't really don't know, I'm very skeptical about the music that gets played because I got a very particular taste, and you know, sometimes I hear something and it just gets tacky or corny, and they start using lame samples or whatever, and then I'm just like, oh, that's it for me, you know. But it throws me off sometimes. I find some music on Spotify, it's like great, fantastic, and then I listen to their catalog and I don't like anything else they made. Music's a really kind of a hard thing to promote because it's kind of you're kind of promoting a flavor to someone. Like how often do you go to a restaurant and try something you've never had before? I mean, I do it once in a while, you know, if I'm feeling adventurous, but oftentimes, you know, sometimes you just want to eat a steak. And so music is it's hard to promote. It's hard to promote more than I'd say videos to some degree, you know, with at least with videos, if it's like a cartoon or whatever, you're expecting it to be humorous. You might get a laugh out of it or something. But if you invest time in music that you don't really like, you kind of just I don't know. It's I just feel like it's harder. That's all. Do you like Enigma or Enya? Enigma. What's let me just. Is it Enigma? Hold on. Let me just look them up. Is that a band? I've returned to innocence. I can't play because I don't have I don't know. I'm sure if I heard them before, honestly. Enya, I've definitely heard. You know, my parents used to play that stuff all the time, growing up on the stereo. I'm not really a fan of Enya. I mean, he's a good singer, but it's not my kind of. I don't really like the music. I know people who don't just listen to music, they need a video to watch or a video game to play as they listen. Not my thing. I love sitting back listening to an album and to each their own. You know, Lembo, I feel like there was a period of time where I wasn't really listening to music either that much, and it was between when piracy was a big thing and Spotify. And I just stopped kind of listening to music, I guess. And I used to listen to a lot of music that, well, I think the problem was the reason why was I wasn't seeking out new music. I was just listening to stuff I was familiar with. And I think with Spotify, as much as people criticize and hate on it and stuff, I think it does a pretty good job at recommending new musicians that I'd never heard of before. And getting into different genres and stuff. the suggestion algorithms are improving in music apps, but that is still largely cutting out certain genres depending on the... That's a tough one too, because, you know, every time I submit my music to Spotify, they're like, what is this genre of this music? And I'm like, I don't, you know, this one's got guitar and viola in it, and the other one's 100% synth. And, you know, the soundtrack, the interface is mostly orchestral, and they don't have like a classical category or a traditional category. So I was like, what the hell? I put it, you know, what category do I put this in? You know, I don't really know how to classify this. I kind of wish that it would be up to the listeners to categorize music. Like, they're probably better at it than I am as a musician. You know, I just make stuff that I like the sound of. But, it's like, you know how there's like 1,000 different subgenres of electronic music? It would be cool if people could like tag a track or like vote on a tag for a track, you know? And then the algorithm might be a little bit smarter with the kind of music that it groups together, you know? Because I find that now the way it works with Spotify is it tends to group music that was played alongside one another, but doesn't necessarily mean it's in the same genre, which sort of means the algorithm promotes music that is played together and not necessarily music that is similar. It means the tastes of people are kind of grouped rather than the types of music, which maybe that's a better thing. I mean, I don't know, you know? Because, well, anyway, that's kind of rambling about stuff. The subgenre name thing is just so impractical these days. Yeah, man. Okay, so I know I used to like... Back in the day, I used to like try to promote my music before I made the channel, which I realized the animation channel is the perfect way to promote your music, really. But I mean, it works for me. It's worked for other people. It worked for Jack Starber. It worked for Pilot Red Sign. It worked for Ethereal Snake, I think. But, you know, I used to try to submit my music to the different subcategories. Like, you know, like on Reddit, you got like, I don't know, it's like Future House and all these different categories. It's like, if you don't submit it to the right one, like the mod will lose their mind and delete it and be like, oh, you know, even though my subreddit hasn't gotten a post for the past 13 days, I'm going to delete this because it's not exactly the right type of electronic music. So I just gave up on that, you know. That's not an easy way to promote music. Probably a waste of time, honestly. Most music listeners aren't really on Reddit anyway, so... Okay, so there's my pod buildings. Let's just delete the background here. And open out of After Effects. Bernaccio, that is a good suggestion, you know? I mean, I think that's a good suggestion. If I'd be like, hey, I feel like this is the music my influences are these bands. So if I'm making music and I upload it, it's probably gonna have a similar flavor to these bands, you know, at least initially for the algorithm to kind of piece where things go, you know? I've been kind of getting lucky though with my new music. It's been getting added to some of the editorial playlists. So that's a that's a big positive for me, because that means someone out there at Spotify is kind of legitimizing the music beyond it just being independently produced music. But I don't get many views from those editorial playlists. They're not really. Cheese It Man, I really want a shirt that just has the Umami letters and design on it. Oh, just like the kind of, not this logo, but the one that's the more substantial logo. That's a good point, man. I can do that. I can add that up pretty easily. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. I just figured people wouldn't. Yeah, but I mean, I can do that. I should probably add that to my merch store. Thanks for the suggestion. Damn it, Jay, are you making the Mischief Frog plushie? Yes, I'm making the Mischief Frog plushie. They're being designed. They're being prototyped right now. It might take a couple months for the prototypes to complete, but yes, they are being worked on. Hopefully, by the time all that stuff is ready, the vinyls will be all out and ready and shipped, you know. I don't like taking too many pre-orders for things that people haven't even received yet, you know what I mean? But they're all on the way. Okay, let's see, SMO2, let's just, After Effects. Hold on, I gotta save this. There, got my clouds pre-animated. So gotta add some like kind of grass maybe in the foreground or something. Okay. I wouldn't. Did I find the Jones tape inspiring? I wouldn't say I found it inspiring, but I found it fascinating for sure. And the interesting thing about the Jones tape was they like re-recorded on top of old recordings, so you would hear like this speech by Jim Jones or whatever, but you would also hear these like kind of undertones of like voices, kind of like at a lower pitch and stuff. Kind of like ghostly kind of sounding voices. And there was a lot of kind of strange artifacts to the tapes, which I thought was interesting in its own right. But I just thought to use those. I mean, I don't really sample anything for my music. But I guess that album I made using those tapes was a little bit more experimental. Hey, for the people in the chat, or Umami if you know, who is the animator that made a Red Dead Redemption animation where the character is in a cave and is chased by Michael Jackson? I don't know, man. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something this guy Ryan Rayman would have made, but I don't think it was him. I can't remember. Okay, let's see. I gotta draw my grass here. So I have a hard time with this, honestly. I don't even know if it's gonna work. Let's see. Kind of like moves to the left, to the right, I mean. There we go. It's like one blade of grass. So I think if I can duplicate that in After Effects, it might look okay, but let's just see what happens. Alright, there's my one blade of grass looping. Just put the foreground here. Now if I go to the tile, to the left. Okay, so now I have 4 blades of grass that are kind of all synchronized. But if I make more layers, okay, let me just lock background. Kind of doesn't look very good. Let's see. Let's scale these down a bit. Not looking so bad now. Do you prefer Photoshop over Animate? I don't really use Animate, so I only use Photoshop, so I don't really have a preference. How did you get the sky to look like a comic strip? I made my own animated patterns, and I used Track Matte tool to kind of replace a thresholded image of the sky. It's kind of a complicated thing. But basically, I have a pattern that I made, and I just apply it to things using After Effects. So I have the halftone kind of style, and I do like sharing a lot of my stuff on YouTube, but I don't really kind of want to share how I do it because it took me a long time to figure out, and I kind of want it to be my own sort of thing for a bit until someone else on YouTube figures it out. I was having a hard time figuring out how to get halftone to look like in a cartoon, but I think I managed to get it. Have you seen Voon? Oh yeah, I've definitely seen Voon. Her stuff is fantastic. She has a excellent sense of color and perspective, which her perspective is wonky, but it's purposefully wonky. Looks great. Anyways, okay, so there's sort of what I did today. This is my shot. I'm gonna call it quits for today. It's not finished. The grass, I'm not happy with how that looks, and the buildings need some more movement so that they fit in with my new style. But otherwise, I think it's a good start. And this is just a background shot, so it's supposed to be a character in front of it too. So, but that's about it. So thanks everyone for hanging out with me today, and have a good weekend. I hope you take it easy, and that's it. So if you haven't checked out my new EP, it's on Spotify now. You can just click the previous video that's on my channel with the 2 snakes there, and I'll be working on this new series, Safe Mode Episode 2, for the next month or so, and hopefully it will come out in sometime in I don't know when, like a month from now, I guess, or maybe a month and a couple weeks, or I don't know how long it's going to take me. All right, everyone, talk to y'all later, and see you next time. Bye.
You're watching Umami.